Today's agenda is, till now we talked about how to create an universe with the universe designer tool. The tool is there in R3 as well as R4.
Muted.
R4, but in R4 they have introduced one more new tool is called as the information designer. I'll tell you a few differences between this and R3 and R4 designers. In R3, yes, today's agenda is we are going to see how to create an universe with the information designer, which is there in R4. This tool is not there in R3. For designing universe design in R3, BOXI R3, we have only we call as designer. In R4, we have universe designer as well as universe designer, as well as there is a tool called as the information designer. Information designer tool. We have a two tools in R4. The reason why they introduced new tool in the R4, in R3 you can create a universe only one data source but not in multiple data sources. For example, you have a source 1, source 2, source 3, source 4. You have multiple sources. For example, you have a DWH1, DWH2 and OLAP cube called as the info cube. If you want to create a report on top of these three data sources by using an R3 WebI report, WebI rich client or info view, whatever the version you take R3 or R2, R4, R3 or R2, R1 till R1, R4. If you want to create any report on top of data warehouse, any WebI report on top of data warehouse, the mandatory is you need to create an universe. You just need to create an universe. The same way here you have three data sources. If you want to create a one WebI report, you need to create an universe. But fortunate or unfortunate, in R3 you have a limitation. You cannot create one universe on top of three data sources. R3 supports only one universe, one data source. This is the case. You have three sources, you need to create a one WebI report, but you cannot create. That time what you need to do in R3 is you need to create a one universe on DWH1, second universe with the second connection on DWH2, third universe, third connection with the third called as info cube. Later you need to create one WebI report on top of three universes by using three separate queries. That is what you need to do in R3. But in R4 they gave a flexibility. You can create multiple connections. If you want, you can create a connection on top of multiple sources in one universe, and you can use multiple data sources for one universe by using information designer tool. That flexibility they gave in R4 information designer, as well as in R3 when you see we have a lot of steps to designing universe. We use the following steps to designing the universe. We have a total 8 steps for designing universe in R3. Number 1 is defining parameter, and number 2 is inserting tables. Number 3 is make the joins, and number 4 is resolve the loops, Number 5 is creating classes and objects. And number 6 is set of hierarchies. Number 7 is testing. Number 8 is distribution. We have that 8 steps. In the defining parameters, what we did is we gave the name of the universe, and as well as we define the connection between universe and the data warehouse. That is you done in the defining the parameters. Number 2 is insert tables. Once you define the connection between your universe and the data source, then you need to right click in the structure pane, select the required tables and import it. That we call as the insert tables. Number 3 is make the joins. If your report is taking data from multiple tables, you need to create a joins by using drag and drops with the leftmost pointer between matching columns. That is make the joins. Sometimes while creating joins, fortunate or unfortunate, for satisfying multiple report requirement, we'll create multiple joins. That time it will form a continuous path between the tables. That we call as the resolve the loop. Once you resolve the loops, in the table when you see, the columns will be with the underscores, EMP underscore NO, ENO, or maybe first F underscore name, L underscore name, like that. But in the report they will ask us to display as full name. That time you need to rename that columns according to the business requirement, or you need to apply a formulas for reusing in the report. That we call as the objects. The replica of the column names you call as object, and replica of the table name you call as a classes and objects. Converting columns into according to business naming conventions, you need to create a classes and objects. That we discussed. The next, set of hierarchies. In BO we have a two kind of hierarchies: default hierarchy and custom hierarchy. Default hierarchy is, it supports for drill down, drill up, drill by. Custom hierarchy supports only drill across. Yes, once you have done these 6 steps, then you need to go to tools. There you have a check integrity. Once you've done the check integrity, that time it will identify the syntax errors. Then you need to resolve the syntax errors, that we call as a testing. Once you have done, once you have tested, once you confirmed there is no errors in the universe file, then you need to export that universe to the dev server. People across the world with the different reporting tools, they will access your report. That we call as a distribution. When you export a universe to the dev server or the server QA, that why you are exported, for you are exported for distribution. That we call as the distribution. These are all the steps you need to follow for defining universe in the R3. But in R4, what they did, in the information designer, defining parameters, they change the name as, in R4, if you want to create a universe with the information designer, first step you need to make a local project. Very next step you need to create a connections. No, you can make any number of connections and you can convert that connections as a shortcuts. Yes, once you define your project, once you created a connections, then very next step is, what you did is in R3, once you define the parameters, you need to import the tables, and you need to make the joins, and you need to resolve the loops. That part they renamed in R4, called as data foundation, inserting table and resolving loops and make the joins, they call as the data foundation. That means whatever the tables you import into the structure pane, that structure pane, whatever the operations you do in the structure pane, that they call as a data foundation. Then later you need to convert the columns into classes and objects, meaningful classes and objects, that they call as, that they call as business layer. The classes and objects layer they call as a business layer. That means they have renamed. Basically what we do in the classes and objects, we convert our column into business terms, business meaningful terms. Object is a business term what you present in the report, but column is a raw column name to hold the data. So that you are renaming. That's why they call us that as a business layer. You need to follow these steps. Yes, let's start today how to build an universe with the information designer, and then we'll go ahead with the rich client to create web reports, as well as to go ahead with the Excel sheets to create dashboards, crystal report how to create a transactional and real-time reporting. Okay, anyway, our first agenda is we'll go to information design and we'll see how to make an universe in the information designer. You need to go to start programs, SAP Business Objects BI Platform 4.0. There you have, there's a tool called as a information design tool. You just need to log on with the information design tool. Once you log on with the information design tool, let me start for client tools. Information design tool. Yes, once you logged on with the information design tool, if you want to create a new tool, let me create a new universe. If you want to create a new universe, what you need to do is, first step you need to go to file, you need to follow these steps. Step 1, you need to create a project. Step 2, you need to create a relational connection or OLAP connection. Step 3, you need to build a data foundation. In the data foundation, you need to import tables and you need to make a joins. And step 4, you need to make a business layer, that is your classes and objects. Then you need to synchronize and all, and then you need to distribute all complete file. That means this 4 into 1 file and send it to and distribute for the customer to create a report. That we call as a project. That means if you want to create a universe, you need to create a project, and you need to create a connections, you need to create separate data foundation, you need to create business layer. These 3 objects you need to combine and put into the synchronize with the project and distribute the project for the customer to create a reports. That is what you are going to do in the R4. Now I'll show you how to create this universe in R4. Okay, step number 1, you need to go to file, new project. First step, you need to give the project name. I'm just giving project name as sample 12. And when you finish the project first it will save in the local system. The local system it will save in C: users administrator business objects BI modular _14 workspace. When you install your R4 in the local, it will install a one path in local system in C: program files. All your project will be saved in the workspaces. Okay, that is fine. Now you are creating sample 12. That sample 12, if you want to save in the desktop, you can save in the desktop. But by default, it will save in the default path which is created in the C:. Okay. Anyway, my project name is sample 12. Click on finish. Okay. You created the project. Then very next step, you need to go to new. There, you need to create a connection. If you want to connect with the data warehouse, you need to create a real relational connection. If you want to connect with the SAP sources, you need to go to OLAP connection. If you want to create a relational connection, please click on relational connection. If you want to create a new relation connection, what you need to do is, let me tell. Go to File, New, then you need to click on relational connection. If there is already connection, please select from all that connection. For example, if you want to reuse any existing connection, that also you can take, or you can create a new connection for that project. Anyway, where is our project name? Our project name is, let me check. Project name is, let me create a new project, sample 15. Okay, I'm creating a new project called as a sample 15, and as well as let me show my repository and all. Local project, your local project name is sample 12. Here you have, then there right click, there you can create a connection is called as the relational connection. What I did, first I created the project, then in the Windows I'm displaying my local project name. All my local projects now I can see here. I created two projects, one is sample 12, second one is sample 15. Now I want to create a connections for sample 12. You just need to right click, new, there you have a relational connection. You just need to click on relational connection. This time it will ask to create a connection name. I'm just giving connection name as sample 12. Click on next. Then now if you want to connect with the database, you need to select hierarchical list. If you want to connect with the plot list, that means plot files, that I need to go to plot list. Plot list means it will display in the plot way. Okay, now anyway, hierarchical list. If you want to create a connection on top of data warehouse which is executing on Microsoft, you need to select Microsoft Access. If you want to create a connection on which is executing on SAP, please select SAP. Oracle, please select Oracle. Now anyway, I have a data warehouse. The data warehouse name is eFashion. It is executing on MS Access 2007. That time we need to select ODBC drivers, MS Access 2007 ODBC drivers. Then click on next, and give the username and password for that MS Access database called as a eFashion Mobile. My username password is administrator BO @123 and test connection. I'm just testing the connection. Yes, it's connected successfully. Click on next, click on finish. The same way what you created in R3 connection, this connection also same. That connection you created, but this connection you created with the project name called as sample 12. This is your connection name. This is your connection name. And if you want to create one more connection for the same project, please go to new, and the connection name is relational connection. And if you want to create a connection name as sample 13, create one more connection for one more data source. I want to create this connection for other data source. Yes, ODBC, and I want to select source as club data warehouse, which is executing on Microsoft Access. administrator bo@123, then click on next, click on next, click on finish. Now you created two connections. Connection number 1 is sample 12, connection number 2 is sample 13. Sample 13. It created two connections. That's good. You created connection 1 as well as created connection 3. One project, now you have a 3 connections. You have a one project 2 connections. Very next step is, what you need to do is, once you build the connection, very next step is, you need to build a data foundation for this particular project. If you want to build a data foundation for this particular project, what you need to do is, in R3 what you did, you define the parameters. Here also, till now you define the parameters. You created one project. For that project you created two connections. The two connections will talk with, one with the eFashion, second one with the club. That's all. Very next step in R3 is, you need to import a tables. If you want to import a tables, you need to see the structure pane. There you can right click tables, and then you can see the tables, you can import the tables. But in R4 information designer, if you want to see a structure pane, you need to build a concept is called as the data foundation. You just need to click on data foundation, and there you need to give the, otherwise if you want to build a data foundation, right click new. For this project, if you want to build a data foundation, you just need to right click, there you need to click on data foundation, give the name of the data foundation. I'm just giving a data foundation name called as sample 12. It says it's already exists. Sample 13, it says it's already exists. Take the data foundation name as, otherwise it already created a data foundation called as sample 13. When you see here, it's already created sample 13. Once you make your project, it will automatically create a data foundation. It already there, that is name called as sample 13. Now if you want to, very next step is what? Tell me, very next step is what? So John sir, in R3 you
Unmuted.
if you want to create a universe, once you define the connections, very next step is what? Insert tables, right? Hello? Insert tables, where you need to right click, where the command. You need to right click on structure pane, right? But in R4 they renamed that as the data foundation. R4 they renamed that name as data foundation. That time what you
Muted.
once you build your data foundation, you need to insert a tables. If you want to insert a tables, in R3 in the structure pane you will right click, there you insert a tables. In R4 also, in the data foundation, if you want to see the data foundation view, please click on data foundation view. Derived table, if you want to create, you can create derived table, and if you want to insert a tables, please click on insert tables. Click on insert tables. But they just simply renamed structure pane as, they just renamed structure pane as data foundation. That's all, there is no difference. If you want to insert a tables, just right click, insert tables, or there you have a insert tables. Whatever the method you want, you can follow now. And let me log on with this data foundation. Okay, sorry. Once you build a connection here, very next step is, what you need to do is, you need to publish connection to the repository, then only it can talk with the that, then click on finish. You just need to publish. You need to publish that connections, and this one also. Okay, already there I just published. Sample 13 also you need to publish connection to the repository. You just need to publish. I'm just publishing. Then click on finish. Yes, you have published both the connections. This time you can go to insert tables. Software is removed from the local resource. 1 second. Yes, you can publish the connections into repository. The connection name is sample 12, sample 13. Then very next step is you need to create a shortcuts. I'll tell you later what is shortcut. You created a shortcut name called as sample 12. Yes, override it. Yes, I created the shortcut, and as well as sample 13 also. You need to create a relational connection shortcut. I want to create a shortcut for this sample 13 also. Let me create a shortcut. Okay, same name. Okay, this is a case. You created the shortcut. Now missing shortcut sample 12. Okay. Now let's try. Insert tables. Okay. The problem is still with the shortcuts. In R4, first you need to make a project, then you need to create a connection. That connections you need to publish in the server repository. That means repository. Later you need to make a shortcut. Why you are making shortcut? The system, the project can read only the data sources with the shortcut connections, but not the connections. That's why you need to make a connections. Anyway, let me create one more data foundation. I think there is a problem with that. We tried without shortcuts. I want to make a data foundation name as sample 14. Click on next. Single data source, or if you want to take multi-source enable, that means if you want to connect a data foundation with the multiple data sources, that time you need to take multi-source enable. If you want to talk with only one data source like eFastener club, that time single source. Multi-source enable means multi-source. This time you need to click on next. Next, here you can see the shortcuts. I want to talk with the sample 12 as well as sample 13 with my data foundation. That time click on next. Again click on next. Click on finish. This time your data foundation will add two connections. Connection number 1 is sample 12 and connection number 3 is sample 13. See, sample 12 and sample 13. Let me consolidate what I did now. Till now what I did is I went to file, new project. I make a one project. In that project I created two connections. Connection number 1 is a sample 12 and connection number is sample 13. Sample 12 is connecting with the eFashion universe and sample 13 is connecting with the club data warehouse. Later I published that connection to the repository. Repository means I published into the Ravan dev server. My dev server name is Ravan. That connections I can see in the repository now. Once you have seen the repository, what you did is you just need to right click on 12 and 13 and connect and convert as shortcut connections. Once you convert it as a shortcut connections, then very next step is, if you want to import the tables, you need to go to structure pane in R3. Same way, if you want to go to structure pane in R4, you need to build a layer is called as a data foundation layer. Again, right click on sample 12 project and click on data foundation and create a new data foundation. While creating data foundation, it will ask you to give the name of the data foundation. I gave the name as sample 14, and then as well as it will ask you to select the connections. I selected two shortcut connections for sample 14 data foundation. Number 1 is sample 12, number 3 is sample 13. So that means whatever the data foundation now I am creating, the data foundation can take a tables from sample 12 and sample 13. That means the sample 12 is taking into the eFashion, sample 13 is taking into the club. From my data foundation, I can talk with the eFashion as well as club now. Yes, that is good. You build two connections between your data foundation, eFashion and club to import tables. Yes, very next step is what? You define the parameters till now. Very next step is you need to import the tables. If you want to import a tables, you just need to go to insert tables. When you click insert tables, it will ask to select the particular data source. I am just selecting sample 12. That time I can talk with the eFashion. If you want to take a data from club, you just need to enable sample 13. Okay, whatever the tables you want, you can import now. But in R3, when you see, let me take R3. I'll show you how to make a universe. Okay, anyway, R3 universe you have already in the universe designer in R4 itself. It looks like your R3 universe design. Let me start R3. I just want to give a comparison between defining parameters in R4 and R3. This looks like your R3 universe designer. Okay, here if you want to create a universe, go to file, comma, new, no project. But in R4 you need to create a project. Later you class to define a connection. If you have already existing connections, you can reuse. If you want to use already existing connections, you need to select that connection from the drop down. But fortunate or unfortunate, in R3 you can select only one connection from the drop down. You cannot select multiple connections at a time from the drop down. That means you cannot talk with the multiple data sources. Then once you selected your connection, you need to click on OK. It will show two panes. Right side pane you call as a structure pane, this you call as a classes and objects pane. But in R4 they renamed structure pane as a data foundation and the classes and objects pane as a business layer. That's why what I did is I make a one data foundation with two connections. Already I defined the two connections. Connection number 1 is sample 12, connection number 2 is a sample 13. Now my data foundation is communicating with the two data sources, connection with the one connection eFashion, second connection club. But in R3, when you right click, only you can define one connection at a time and only you can talk with the one connection. That means only one time you can talk with the one data source. But in R4 you can talk with the multiple data sources at a time by using multiple shortcut connections. Okay, now I want article lookup, calendar year lookup, as well as soft fact, as well as I want a product promotion fact. Click on finish. That's all. Now you imported your tables. From eFashion universe. Later if you have a requirement, you can import from the club also. If you want, you can import from club. Yes, You imported the tables. Tell me what next. John sir, question for you. Yes, still they can migrate from R3 to R2. I will tell you. You can publish the universe whatever you created in R3 or R4 universe designer. That you call as a .unv. You can convert that as a .unx in R4.
Unmuted.
John sir, are you there? Are you sleeping? John sir,
Yes, sir.
are you
Yes,
there?
sir.
Tell me what is
Yes,
next.
sir. Yes, yes.
Tell
Sir,
what
you
is
should have a relationship between the other connection, no?
You should
If you want to
have
bring the glove, if you want to bring the glove, you should
That-
have a relationship, no? With
what relationship?
like a common column.
That is fine. That is fine. That we'll discuss later. You know, in R3 also, if you want to build it to, if you want to link two universes, you need a one common column, right?
Yeah.
If you want to talk with any data source, if you want to talk with the two data sources must have at least one common column that we call as a conformal dimension. You know, with the help of the two common columns, you can create a join between the tables which you imported from source 1 and source 2. That is fine. That we'll discuss later. Don't worry. But now what do you need to do? I want to build a leave about second connection. I imported the tables from first connection from eFirst universe. Then I want to take a data for this. Then tell me what do you need to do next.
Insert tables.
You imported the tables. Next.
Insert tables.
Yeah, I inserted the tables. Very next. What?
You want to from the glove?
No. Now I want only from eFirst. Then you need to make a joins, right?
Yeah.
Tell me how many kind of joins we have.
You have too many kinds of joins. EQ
Tell me
joins,
few at least.
EQ join, theta join, shortcut join.
Can you tell me the difference between full outer join and Cartesian product?
Yeah. Full outer
Right.
join.
Tell me when you go for full outer join and when you go for
Full outer
left
join.
outer and when you go for theta.
Full outer join is m plus n. For Cartesian is m by n, into n.
What do you mean by M and what do you mean by N, sir?
M fields into n fields. Number of data. Number of records. M records into other column. Number of records.
Full outer join means?
Addition and other one is multiplication.
Okay. Then tell me when the people will go for full outer join. Take a one real time example. Treat me
They
this
want
as a
to-
mock-up interview. Treat me
If
this
they
as a
want to-
mock-up interview. I'm asking you know, whatever the difficulty you feel in the universe is creating join. Once you are good with the joins, if you know when and why you are creating a join, then universe is nothing. All you can do with the mouse clicks. But now I'm asking you, I'm an interviewer. I'm asking you the questions for you. Tell me when you go for full outer join and give a one small example the real time. Take a two tables and explain me and why you are taking the two tables and why you are using full outer join. Radhika ma'am, question for you. Yes, tell me one example. You know, I know the full outer join I'll take if I want all the columns from two tables. But tell me when. Give me one example. Take a one example what you faced in your career and explain me. Yes, this case I went to full outer join. There's a way you need to explain in the real time. Do you want me to explain? John sir, do you want me to explain? Hello?
Sir, if you want both records from left and right tables, you need to go for full outer join.
The thing is we can create sir, but the question is, see, the question I'm not asking you how to create a full outer join. The question is, explain me full outer join with an example when you are using full outer join. You just need to take example. You need to take one business scenario. For satisfying this business scenario, I have these tables in my backend. I imported these tables and I created full outer join for satisfying this requirement. That is a way you need to explain in the interview. I know how to create full outer join. Just drag and drop, double click, enable both the checkboxes, it will create a full outer. First of all, are you Radhika, understand what I'm asking? Are you understand what I'm asking? So John sir, are you okay with that question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You're good with the question, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That means you know theoretical knowledge. You have a theoretical knowledge as well as you have a practical knowledge how to create. I do agree, but you don't have a logical knowledge how to implement this for the real-time requirement. That is what lacking.
Yeah.
You just need to work on that. Agree?
Yes, sir. If you are like a country, there is a what are the problems with that?
Exactly. Everyone. If I learn if I learn other technology like Java, but theoretically I can, and syntax wise I can, practically I know how to write a program, but I don't know why I am writing a program. I know how to make a full outer join, but I don't know why I am making full outer join. That is what happening in the real time. In the courses, in the teaching field, Okay, anyway, let me clear that. Please take this as opportunity. I'll explain all the joins and ask me if you have any questions. The reason is this I am going to explain with the what do you call us with the data. Okay, now let's start with the joins. I hope till now what we did, at least explain. Anyone can explain this? What we did in the R4 universe? Compare with the R3 and explain. John sir, please come out. Treat me. I am a friend. Treat I am as I am a friend. I am your friend. The thing is, course is for you, not for me. Once you learn and once you utilize, that time there is a meaning for our course and our time. The thing is, now you are paying money. I am taking money. I am completing the subject whatever there in my PPT. Okay, you are not well. I'm sorry, John sir. Okay, I'm sorry for that. Okay, the thing is, you have to explain. Please, all of them. We are all in one group. Please come out from your ego. In the world, biggest crime, underestimating ourselves is the biggest crime. Please come out. I hope you know what we did. What we did in R4 is, in R3, if you want to create an universe, first you need to connect with the universe designer. Go to file, command new, give the name of the universe and make a connection between your universe and the data warehouse. But in R4, they introduced a new tool called as the
Muted.
designer. The basic use of information designer is to communicate one universe on multiple data sources with the multiple connections. But in R3, one universe can communicate with the one data source with one connection. That's why they gave a new steps in R4 in the information designer. If you want to build any universe in R4 information designer, first you need to make one project. Then for that project you need to make a connections. For example, there is a project. If you want to make 10 connections for that project, still you can make. That's why what we did is, first we created one project. There I created two connections. Connection 1 with the eFashion, connection 2 with the clock. Later I published that connection to the repository because that connections are saved connections. Now all the projects can talk with that connections. That connections are secure connections once you publish. Then if you want to use 2-3 connections for one project, you need to convert that connections as a shortcut connections. Later what I did is, I converted the connections as a shortcut connections. Then you need to build a data foundation. In the data foundation, you need to import the tables and you need to make a joins. Now again, let me explain. The thing is, it's very important. The difficulty part, if you see in R4 only the information designer. If you want to create a new project, go to new. Sample 13 is my project name. Yes, click on finish. You created sample 13 project. Very next step I told you. If you want to create any universe, you have a sample 14 project. First you need to make a connections. If you want to make a connections, you just need to right click on that particular project, or you need to go to file, new. There you have a relational connections. Create a relational connections. Sorry. You build a connection. You build a project. What is the project name? Sample 13. Right click on sample 13. Go to new. There you have a relational connection. Create a one relation connection, one or two, whatever you want. I'm just creating a connection name called as sample 14 for that project. I just right click on that project, new relational connection, click on next. If you want to create a connection for data source which is there in Microsoft, take a Microsoft. If you want to create a connection for InfoCube, please take a InfoCube by using SAP drivers and click on next. Just give the connection name and as well as username. Now I am trying to talk with a data warehouse name called as eFashion that is executing on Microsoft Access. That's why I selected drivers as Microsoft Access 2007 ODBC. Then you need to give username and password for this data warehouse. Administrator and your password, whatever the password there is there for the eFashion data warehouse. Then click on next, click on next, click on finish. That means you created one connection for this sample 13 project. The connection name is sample 14. And again right click, click on new. If you want to create one more OLAP connection, OLAP connection means this you are creating for the BEX queries or InfoCubes. Relational means your data warehouses. One more relation connection if you want to create, please give the new name for this connection. I am giving name as sample 15. Click on next. I have only one data warehouse. If you want, you can create other data warehouse. I have a data warehouse, second data warehouse also executing an Access database. I selected drivers as ODBC drivers. Click on next, and I want to select the next data warehouse is called as a club, but make sure both data warehouses must have at least one common column. Later you need to create a relationship between two data sources. That is mandatory. In R3, if you want to link two universes, the mandatory is two universes must have at least one common column. Yes, you are creating. Then you need to enter username password for club database. Now I'm just entering a username password for club data warehouse to communicate with the club data warehouse. Click on next, click on next, click on finish. That means what you did is you created sample 13 project. Under sample 13 project you created two connections. Very next step what you need to do is that connections you need to publish. Connection to the repository. Click on next. I'm publishing to Ravan server. Click on finish. That's good. That is, you publish that connections. Once you publish that connection name you can see in the Ravan repository. This is your repository resources. That time it will make a secure connection. This is your secure connection. And sample 15 also publish connection to the repository. Click on next. Click on finish. Click on yes. It will create one more. It will make one more connection in the repository. That is sample 15. It will create this is as a secure. Yes, now we have a two connections. Very next step, if you want to use two connections for this universe, what you need to do is you need to convert these connections as a shortcut connections. You just need to right click there, create relational connections for shortcut connection. Our connection name is what? What is our connection name? Sample 14. Sample 14. How you make this as a shortcut connection? John sir. Anyone? Radhika ma'am.
Unmuted.
The couple of minutes back you converted this as a shortcut connection, right?
Hello.
Hello, yes. You converted this as a shortcut connection, right? How you converted that as a shortcut connection? You know, you just need to make one. I want to make that as a 13. See, a shortcut named sample 14 already exists in the specified location. Do you want to overwrite? Yes, I want to overwrite. Yes, I overwrite it. It will create one more shortcut connection and sample 15 also. Right click, create a relational shortcut connection. Just click on OK. Wherever you click, then it will create a, was created successfully. Total I have a two shortcut connections. If you want to use these two shortcut connections for the data foundation, then what you need to do is you need to go to our project name sample 13, right click, new. Very next step is you need to make a data foundation. Give the name of the data foundation. I'm just giving a data foundation name as sample 15. Already I have sample 14 and sample 13. Click on next. If you want to connect with the multiple data source enable multi-source enable. This time you can see your shortcut connections, sample 14 and sample 15, sample 14 and sample 15. Then what you need to do is you need to enable the two shortcut connections. That means now you are going to use these two connections for importing tables into the data foundation. Data foundation is to import tables from the sources. That means from your data foundation, you are going to start with the e-version by using sample 14 shortcut and club by using sample 15. Then click on next. No, it won't create a shortcut. When we publish, then later you need to make a shortcut. If you want to make that as a shortcut, you need to show the location. The location I selected as sample 13. The shortcut connection name is sample 14, but the folder name is sample 13. That means our 14 and 15 will be stored in the sample 13. It won't create a shortcut. Once you need you need to publish, then you need to make a shortcut. Okay. Anyway, that's good. You've selected sample 13 as well as sample 14 as well as sample 15. Now you make your data foundation. In your data foundation, this is your data foundation, and data foundation extension is DFX. Sample 14 DFX. In connection sample 14, you can see all the tables whatever there in the E version. In sample 15, when you expand, it will display all the tables which are there in the club. The reason is sample 15 shortcut you created for the club data warehouse. This is a way you can make. This is a sample 15. This is a way you can make connections, and you can publish connections into the repository, and you can make that as a shortcuts, and you can use for your data foundation. Very next step, you need to import the tables. If you want to import the tables, you can simply drag and drop, same like your R3. You can drag and drop, or you can drag and drop, or you can take, you can go to insert tables, or right click, there you have a insert tables. Whatever the method you want, you can follow. Okay, now anyway, right click, insert tables. If you want to take a tables from the sample 14, select the required tables. I want the article lookup, calendar year lookup, soft fact. Why I am importing this to these 4 tables? I have a requirement. I am going to create a report. Same I am explaining whatever I explained in the R3. I want to create 2 reports. One is with the article label, year, and amount sold. Second report is article label, year, and promotion cost. Then you need to check where the year is there, where the year is there, and where the article lookup is there, where the quantity is, where the amount sold is there, where the promotion